Parts unknown, wherever you may be, Benny versus the Penny is back. Week number 6 is here. I'm David Gascon. Thank you very much for joining us on this fine Friday afternoon. Lots of things to chew on, obviously. Thursday Night Football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles cover that. So does Benny. But as a wise man once told me, and then echoed it from somebody else, you do not bury a couple leads. So make sure you subscribe, hit that button at the bottom, follow us, Ben and myself, all season long. You go all the way deep into the NFL regular season, plus postseason. Ben, speaking of postseason, I'm feeling a little blue.
Yes, Dodger blue. Hold on a second. Let me get this. Hold on. I got props here.
That's good.
That's the lucky Dodger hat right next to me. And my favorite the sound effect. My favorite Giant all time is Wilmer Flores with a wink and a nod to Gabe Morales. What a tremendous job by Gabe Morales there, the umpire. And I'm going to dedicate. I don't do dedications. We don't believe in that, Gascon, but I'm dedicating Benny versus the Penny to my favorite umpire, Gabe Morales. Now, I used to love Ken Kaiser. That was my favorite umpire back in the day, and I had Ken on a radio show, and he was selling, I think it was shark cartilage he was selling. But no, Gabe Morales, what a great call. Got it right, and it could not have been better. Yeah, a walk-off home run to win the game would not have been better than that. A game-winning ribby single right up the gut would not have been better than that. You could not have had a more agonizing loss for the Gigantes. And to think that they thought Wilmer Flores, 0 for 17 in his career against Max Scherzer, that they thought that guy was going to get a hit. Now, the Giants, they deserve to lose, and I love the fact now that they're blaming all of their rage at Gabe Morales. They choked. They're a bunch of choking Giants.
Yeah, what did you say last night? It was they were 3 for 25 with runners in scoring position in the 5-game series?
Yeah, the divisional series, they batted 120 with runners in scoring position. 120. Greatest team in baseball. Most wins in the regular season. Dynamic offense. All the old dudes that were hitting. They batted $120.
That's unbelievable. Which is funny because I know you and Roberto were talking about this last night, but fascinating to know throughout the course of the season, Cody Bellinger was batting .08 against San Francisco pitching, and then he delivers the most clutch run driven in of the 2021 campaign. I mean, for as bad as he was.
He batted 165 this season. He was the worst ever, and we said this on the show, and we weren't wrong. The worst ever MVP in the history of baseball later on in their career. There had never been a bigger fall from grace than Cody Bellinger, and he ends up being the hero. And then he talked about the Giants shoving up the keister there to the Logan Webb on the TNT post-game coverage. So
yeah, something special. But you were multitasking. You were obviously writing a beautiful monologue, and of course you saw Jalen Hurts and company sliding through the back door, which is nice.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts sucks. I knew he was going to suck, and then great thing, that line was too big. The Bucs were a 7-point favorite. Some people had it at 6.5, and for those people, that was a painful, agonizing line. Philadelphia goes for 2, down 8. At the time, they scored the touchdown. They go for the 2, and I wouldn't have done that. The math on that, I didn't like it. Anyway, they went for 2. They got it, and that was it. Tampa just ran the clock out. The Eagles had no way to stop it. They were out of enough timeouts there. So The Bucks get the win, but the Eagles get the cover, so we're off to a good start. Not a great weekend last weekend, Gascon. So
we'll
just
talk about
on.
it. That's good.
Yeah,
we won't talk about that. I guess in the words of many NASCAR fans, Ben Maller, let's go, Brandon. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go, Brandon. Exactly. All right. So they're saying that in the chat as well. They're saying that in the chat. And, we're just trying to avoid the people asking where the clock is. And Dan says, quality baseball talk on my NFL Pick'em show. All right, we'll move on from the baseball. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. How dare you? All right, the first game up on this week's Benny versus the Penny, the Miami Dolphins at 1-4, Jacksonville 0-5. This game in London, and the Dolphins a 3-point favorite. They opened at 2.5 in this game. Now, cloudy and in the 60s at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's the same stadium they used last week. I will sleep right through this game, but I am picking Jacksonville on the neutral site, allegedly, in London. And I just think these teams are very similar. In fact, the Dolphins, if you look at the numbers, the Dolphins minus 75, the Jags minus 59. Those are the worst point differentials in the NFL. So congratulations, Florida. You have the top team from last year, the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Bucs, and you have the two worst teams in the NFL this year, Miami and Jacksonville. Miami has the worst cover margin in the NFL this season, minus 11.2. And I think this is a good matchup for Jacksonville. It certainly looks like it. You look at all of the different things going into the game. James Robinson filling his belly, good running back there on the ground. Jacksonville should be able to run the ball. Miami's run defense is anemic. They have a bad defensive line, and even the backup lineman for Jacksonville should be able to get some space for James Robinson. And the wheels. Listen, Brian Flores. We like this guy. We were on Brian Flores early in the year. The wheels have fallen off. They get Tua Tagovailoa back allegedly, but the check engine light is on here for Miami. We can't spend too much time on this, but the only way that this doesn't go Jacksonville's way is if Trevor Lawrence gets hijacked and goes on a booze run around the UK with Terry in England. That's the only way this doesn't go well. So Jacksonville 26, Dolphins 23. They got the wrong team favored.
Penny is going that way with Jacksonville as well.
All right, so the Penny agrees with me, and the Penny did agree with me on the Tampa game. Also, so had Eagles in that. Mr. Luciano has checked in. He's a Giants fan. I hope he's okay. Is his therapy dog there? All right, next up, San Francisco Giant, not New York Giant. Let's get to the early portion. I don't consider that London game, Gascon, part of the early portion. So,
What do you consider it?
It's just out on its own. It's played in the middle of the night. That's when I sleep.
It's all right, an FCS game.
Yeah, exactly. Houston 1-4 at Indianapolis 1-4. It's on CBS with Spiro Ditas and Jay Feely. They have the call. So the Colts, a 10-point favorite in this game at home, coming off the Monday night game at Lucas Oil Stadium. I'm taking the Texans in this game. The Indy team here is waving the yellow caution flag at this point, blowing that 22-3 lead in prime time. And now they got the quick turnaround against an unglamorous divisional opponent, the Texans. But I like Houston. I've been back and forth on Houston. They surprised the heck out of me last week. I thought they were going to get shut out against the Patriots, and they were the better team for about 70% of that game until the inevitable implosion took place. But the last 14 regular season games between the Texans and Colts, I know the players were a lot different, but those have all been decided by a single-digit margin. This is a double-digit situation, and if you look at it, this year, actually, double-digit favorites have done pretty well. They're 5-2 against the spread, but Indianapolis has only been a double-digit favorite under Frank Reich 3 times, and they are 1-2. In that situation. There's a bunch of injuries in this game. Even the kicker, Rodrigo Blankenship, is out. He's been ruled out because of a hip injury. So I'm putting my faith here on Davis Mills finding a little bit of magic the way he did against the Patriots last week. and slinging it to Brandon Cooks, the old Ram, Patriot, and Saint receiver, and then finding this guy, Chris Moore, who they got out of the junkyard, who's been very good for the Texans. So, listen, Houston's not going to win the game, but it's a divisional game. These things are usually close. Colts 27, Texans 23, the final.
Penny on Indianapolis in this one. They always dominate the Houston Texans, so why not with double-digit chalk?
Double-digit chalk. All right. Who do we have here? Page down. By the way, just Josh pointing out in the chat, back-to-back and belly-to-belly with snoozers. Yeah.
I know.
We got to get those crap games out of the way. This is also a game. This next game I don't think is all that good. Are you excited about Green Bay and Chicago?
Only to see what kind of Justin Fields we're getting.
Yeah, I'm not fired up. Now, Green Bay 4-1, Chicago 3-2. It's on Fox. Joe Davis, the TV voice of the Dodgers, and Greg Olson have the call in the Fox box that rocks. Now, the Packers opened a 4.5-point favorite. They are a 6-point road favorite at Soldier Field. They make the drive down from Appleton, Green Bay, down to Chicago. So sunny in the 60s at this game, typical fall weather this time of the year there in October in the Windy City. I am taking, against my better judgment here, the Chicago Bears. I am. Again, it's a divisional game. I do not like betting big favorites in divisional games. The Packers have a sexy record here, Gascon, 4-1. But to me, they're not dominant. Like, if you actually look closer at that 4-1 record, it's a little cloudy. Right, they needed a second half comeback to beat the Lions in week 2. They got smoked in week 1 against the Saints, but week 2 they had to come back, fluke thing against the Lions second half. They then needed that redonkulous 49er clock mismanagement by Kyle Shanahan that allowed Aaron Rodgers to find a little bit of magic in week 3. And even against Pittsburgh, it was a 10-point a win at home, but it was very close. I think the line on that was 6.5. So the Steelers had a chance to cover that at the end. So that was not a dominating win. And then the 25-22 game last week in overtime against Cincinnati, and that game featured not 1, not 2, not 3. How about 4? I'm like Tom Brady, that meme of Tom Brady. 4 missed field goals. That would have won the game there conceivably at the end. Now, I am going against history here, Gascon. The Green Bay Packers, recent history, 21-5 in games against the Bears since Aaron Rodgers became the starting quarterback there in Green Bay. He has actually started 25 of the games there, 25 of the 26. Listen, the Bears are not aesthetically pleasing. Their defense is starting to round into shape here. Matt Nagy's team, 14-6-1. They have a 700 winning percentage against the spread as a home dog going back to 2016. You mentioned Justin Fields. I don't think he's very good, but he has done okay gambling. I think he's 2-1 in the games he's played in here against the spread. Packers will win it, but the Bears will win the money. Packers 24, Bears 21.
Penny don't like that. Let's go with the Green Bay Packers in this one.
Okay, well, the Penny. That's an old take. That's an old take by the Penny. Bad job by the Penny.
Just more of a fade against Justin Fields than those one-trick pony reads.
Jay Scoop writes in. He says, "Way to check the swing on that pick bet." Yeah. Oh God. I went back and I looked. I know this is the football podcast, plausibly, or whatever this is, a YouTube show. I don't even know what the hell this is. But I looked back, Gascon, in the official baseball rule book because I wanted to see what the hullabaloo was all about. You know, and I mentioned on the radio show last night. I said, "Hey, there is no official rule on what a swing is," and so I went back and I looked. The word "swing" in the official baseball rule book, it shows up 21 times. 15 times in the text format. There are 6 mentions of the word "swing" in the index of the official baseball rules, and in all 21 of those references, none of them include the definition of what a swing is.
Yeah. Most people think a swing is when you break the plane of home plate. That's not the case. It's the intent.
Yeah, it's baseball's version of the holding penalty in football, where you could call. There is a rule, you can call holding on every play because somebody's grabbing something and you're not supposed to do that. All right, next up, Kansas City at Washington. Chiefs 2-3, Washington 2-3. It's on CBS with Ian Eagle and Charles Davis. Now the Chiefs, they opened 5.5-point favorites. They're favored by 6.5 at FedEx Field. Again, in the 60s, like pretty much everything this weekend, games in the 60s except in the Sun Belt. So I'm going to take the Chiefs in this game. Now, I don't normally like road chalk. I try to avoid road chalk, but I am going to take Kansas City, a bounce-back game for Patrick Mahomes, who is the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for more than 15 passing touchdowns in the first 5 games and have a losing record. At 2-3, the mistakes have been the kryptonite for Kansas City. That and the defense. They're ranked 31st in the NFL, but they have met their match in this game. As Kansas City goes into Washington, Landover, Maryland, the old Redskins are 27th in defense. Now, Andy Reid on the road with Patrick Mahomes, 17-9-1 against the spread. And while Washington will certainly score a bunch of points in this game, because the Chiefs have allowed the most points per game in the NFL, while Washington also, I think they're second most as I look at the numbers here. But Taylor Heineke has put up similar stats this year to Jared Goff, which is not a compliment at all. Now, he should be better this week because Kansas City, again, is rotten. This game will be a high-scoring affair, as they say in sportscasting class. Chiefs 44, Washington 31, the final.
Yes, sir. Penny's going with the Kansas City Chiefs as well.
Yeah, this is from the Brick House, by the way. I'm in the Brick House. I like that. It's some good brick.
I couldn't find any forest. I couldn't find a forest or a cabin for you. So,
what about a nice city backdrop, like a penthouse apartment? I can imagine I live in a big penthouse apartment.
Would have been. We just had this talk like 2 weeks ago that you don't like the view. You don't care about the view anymore.
Well, I don't, but I want it behind me because the listener, or in this case the viewer, they enjoy it. Like Alf the Alien Opiner and all the usual suspects, just Josh and those guys, they love it. So,
all right, fair enough.
Oh, there you go. What is this, like a Tron thing? What was that? Oh, here we go. This is I'm in the jet copter. Traffic on the ones. Here we go. I'm looking. It's kind of a cloudy, overcast day today, Gascon.
You're in the city of Vancouver.
Oh, is that Vancouver? All right.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. All right. Jet copter Benny. Jet copter.
Oh, who's your pilot?
I'm a pilot. We haven't heard from I'm a pilot in a while. What happened? You chased him away. Bad job by you, guys. My friend away. Oh, my friend, I'm a pilot. All right, next up, Minnesota 2-3 at Carolina 3-2. It's on Fox. Friend of the Maller Militia, Alf the Alien Opiner's buddy as well, Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma. I don't know if Alf knows Kenny Albert or not, but Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma have the call. The Vikings, they are a 1-point favorite. Carolina opened up a 1-point favorite, so this game has gone the other way. Sunny in the 60s at Bank of America Stadium. I'm taking the Vikings. This is one of my picks of the week. I like the Vikings here. Now I'm going against recent history. Minnesota, the last 11 against the spread as a favorite, they're 2-9, so they have not been a good favorite. It's a very small number. It's a 1-point line here. They have failed to cover 7 straight games as a favorite. So either this trend continues or they are due to end the trend, and I believe they are officially going to end it here. And I'm completely off the Sam Darnold Marching in Chowder Society. He is a walking ulcer, is what he is. Darnold is the same old mistake-prone quarterback he was with the Jets. The Panthers, check this out, they lead the NFL in time of possession. Now, most coaches, I remember back in my day at Polk High School, like Al Bundy, the coach said, you win the time of possession, and you're going to win the game more times than not. All right? Possession is 9/10 of victory. So Carolina leads the NFL in time of possession this season. They're averaging almost 35 minutes per game, and it's a meaningless stat because they have these long drives that end up with turnovers. And anyway, Christian McCaffrey's dinged up. Dalvin Cook, these guys all messed up. At this time, Dalvin Cook, he's got I believe an ankle injury, and McCaffrey has the hamstring. I've not seen the updated injury report on this. I assume that they're not going to play, or even if they do play, it's not going to be that big an impact. Minnesota's defense, this is the key here for why I like the Vikings. They are able to get to the quarterback. They've been doing it all year. They have 17 sacks this season, second most in the NFL. And what happens to Sam Darnold when you get pressure on him? You know, and I know what happens to him. Sam Darnold ends up pooping the diaper, and that bodes well. That leads to the mistakes and all that. And Kirk Cousins, he's not perfect by any means on the other side there. But did you know he is the first Viking quarterback to ever throw for 100 or more touchdowns in a 4-year span? Just give me a couple of those touchdowns, and I am going to take the Minnesota Vikings 27 and the Carolina Panthers 20.
Not all aboard. Penny is going with the Carolina Panthers in this one.
All right, next up for us, we have the L.A. Chargers and the Baltimore Ravens. Another 5-star pick of the week. Now, these picks have been terrible lately, these 5-star picks. This is the week, Gascon. This is the week that turns around. It is.
I hope.
I'm gonna hit the bullseye twice. All right, so the Ravens opened a 3-point favorite. So a small line on this. They are 2.5-point favorites right now. So I am going to take at M&T Bank Stadium. I'm taking Baltimore. I'm in the Ravens' nest. I'm in the Ravens. Don't do that. There's no need to do that.
You chastise Lamar Jackson whenever you get a chance. I'm surprised.
Well,
at this.
he proved me wrong. Lamar has proven me wrong. And I am a man that when I see the light, I had to come to Jesus moment. In this case, I had to come to Lamar moment. So I actually went to the Charger game last week against the Browns, and I was very impressed. Justin Herbert, unstoppable. All those playmakers, Mike Williams, and all those other guys, really good receivers. Austin Eckler is a solid, sneaky good running back, and he's actually tied for the NFL lead in touchdowns. But why am I picking the other team? Well, Lamar Jackson, in his career, 24-16-2 against the spread. And last week, even though the Ravens won the game, I consider that a loss because they were getting their face smashed in by the Colts, and it was a couple of fluky things. I think Lamar had 300-something passing yards in the second half and overtime. It was insane. But as much as I love the Chargers offense, I also saw their defense, which really had no clue how to stop a Baker Mayfield Browns offense, which is not even that great. Methodical running Cleveland offense. And the Ravens, Lamar should be able to run wild on this Charger team. They were, again, waylaid by the Browns last week. So I am on the side of the home favorite here. Ravens 33, Chargers 28.
Penny's going with the Bolts in this one. And as Late Night Drug Tester pointed out, this game is sponsored by Baltimore Tourism. As bad as TV's The Wire, it's worse. Not as bad as
I see some new faces in the chat, some new names in the chat.
Well, you should encourage all those new faces to give us a thumbs up. That includes Lee. I don't know if he knows the difference between up and down, but Lee, if you can do like that, thumbs up.
Wow, you're such a dick. You know,
I'm excited. I'm excited. He asked you a question and spelled WNBA correctly. I'm really excited about Lee being in here today.
Yeah. Lee is he's misguided because he likes the Arizona Cardinals and Alligator Arms Murray, but nobody's perfect.
Good team.
Yeah. All right, next up for us on Benny versus the Penny. What's some of the other names I see in there that I don't recognize? Emmer Ald, is that a new name? Am I seeing that correctly there?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. All right, Cincinnati 3-2 at Detroit 0-5. It's on Fox. Now, back in the day, would this be the Dick Stockton game? If Dick was still doing the broadcasting, we used to have Dick Stockton.
100%.
Well, now it's the Chris Myers game. My old guy, Chris Myers. Myers and Daryl Johnston have the call on Fox. The Bengals, a 3.5-point road favorite in Ford Field, Detroit. And I'm going to take, boy, I am really losing my way as a gambler here. I'm going to ride the lightning. That is the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. I just love me some Joe Burrow. I know he injured his vocal cords, and he's got the perfect placebo here, the Lions defense. He will be bug-eyed as he sees Jamar Chase wide open, skating past guys that are playing defensive back for the Lions that should be packing boxes somewhere. Detroit, they cannot stop the pass. They can't contain the run. So Joe Mixon, I know he's been dinged up here. The Bengals should be able to get big chunk plays wherever they want. I am going against history. Cincinnati has not been a road favorite of at least a field goal since 2017, when the cheating Astros stole the World Series from the great Dodgers. The Bengals are 1-4 against the spread as a favorite under Zach Taylor since 2019. Detroit, they have been just good enough to lose. Detroit has lost 3 of their last 6 games by exactly 2 points. That is hard to do when most games are decided by 3 or 7 points. And Jared Goff, without Sean McVay, Jared Goff has been the most consistent quarterback in the NFL. He is averaging 6.6 yards per pass attempt this season. That is the lowest since Jeff Fisher was his coach with the Rams back in 2016. He ranks 25th in the NFL. The receivers have no ability to separate. They can't shake things up. The Lions need to go back and start from scratch. This is a mess, even though they're losing these close games. This will not be that close. This will not be that close. A kidney buster for the Bengals over the Lions. Bengals 27, Lions 17.
Penny is also going with Cincinnati.
Alf, the alien opiner, says this is the Carol Baskin Bowl game. That's a good point. Bengals and Lions. That's a solid job.
Good.
I see.
It's good.
Justin in Cincinnati has checked in. Justin paying his phone bill, so he's back on the show.
Good for her.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Next up, the LA Rams at 4-1, and the New York Giants at 1-4. It's on Fox. Adam Amin and Mark Schlereth have the call now.
What
the Rams?
What'd you say the record was?
The Rams are 4-1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, forgot that one loss to Arizona at home.
That was a bye week. They just took the week off. They felt pity. They saw the short bus pull up, and they felt pity. All right. They said, oh, look at that. Somebody needs help. All right. So the Rams open 6.5-point favorites. They are favored by 10. And I'm actually going to take the Giants in this game. I'm not taking the Rams. That line is too big. I hate double-digit favorites. I despise it. I just don't believe in double-digit favorites. Fire and brimstone before I take a double-digit favorite, especially after last week when I believe I took the Patriots, which were like right around double digits against the Texans and were trailing 90% of the game or whatever it was. But I have tunnel vision here. I am all about winning. It's not about my favorite teams, but I like the Giants to win. The bet, the Rams will win the game. Matthew Stafford, check this out. The man that everyone was goofing on. All those trolls, all those cockroaches have crawled behind the refrigerator. And they've seen the light and they start scurrying. Stafford is the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for at least 275 yards in each of his first 5 games with the team. It had never been done before. The Rams have done a very good job of not making mistakes. No Plaxico Burress self-inflicted wounds here. They have just 5 turnovers, 4 sacks allowed, and 17 penalties. They have been a clean, well-coached football team. They should score a gazillion points. But I can't lay double-digit points in this game. And I'm also a little concerned because even though nobody gets up for the Lions, the one guy that will get up for the Lions is Matthew Stafford, and that's who the Rams play next week. Detroit comes to L.A., so Stafford against his old team. This is also an early start, which hasn't really been a factor for Sean McVay teams, but West Coast team going to the East Coast playing the 10 a.m. California time game. The main reason I'm not taking the Rams here is because Raheem Morris's defense. I just don't like that defense. I don't. I know Aaron Donald's playing. The Giants have a zombie squad, ton of key injuries here. Daniel Jones is going to play. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? He's 4-11 against the spread at home, 3-8 as a home dog. I can give you all kinds of numbers. Joe Judge has actually done a very good job when he gets at least 7 points. 5-2 against the spread when getting that, and as a double-digit underdog under Joe Judge, 3-1 against the spread. So Rams 30, Giants 24, the final.
Even the penny is going with the Los Angeles Rams in this one. Even the penny, Ben.
Queen Roxanne writes in, she says, it's okay to admit when your team loses, Ben, to a better team. Nobody wins them all. Well, I thought the Dodgers did a great job, if that's what you're referencing. I thought it was absolutely beautiful.
I can't remember the last time the Cardinals lost a football game, can you?
Oh, she's talking about the Cardinals?
Yeah, the Arizona Cardinals, the team that beat your LA Rams at home.
Nobody likes the Cardinals.
They were huge favorites in that game. They lost straight up. Sad.
Yeah, they were looking ahead to a better opponent, Seattle, and we all know Arizona, a paper tiger. I'm not impressed with them at all. I actually did a monologue. I did a monologue this week, Gascon, dedicated to debunking the myth of the Arizona Cardinals that they've somehow arrived on the scene. I know you're going to need your emotional support animal after this week, though, Gascon, because of all of it, you're a Bronco fan, but you like Arizona because you like the little guy. You like the little fella, the garden gnome at quarterback. Arizona 5-0. That's not going to last that long. At Cleveland, 3-2. It's on Fox. Kevin Kugler and Mark Sanchez have the call. Now, the Browns opened a 3-point favorite. This line has stayed the same. Browns by 3 at First Energy Stadium. The other mistake by the Lake. The Browns are the pick here. Second time as pros. You have Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. They will match up. At least that's scheduled. I say that because the old Okies from Muskogee, we might not see Kyler Murray for the entire game as he popped up on the injury report this week with a shoulder injury. As I have, again, correctly predicted, Gascon, little Kyler Murray's body cannot hold up to the rigors of the NFL. This has been the same pattern. The injuries catch up to him. He can't handle it. His petite size, his body wears down. And it's not even week 6 yet. We're not even playing week 6, and already he's got a shoulder injury. So this is a bad omen. It's a bad omen, a harbinger of things to come for the Arizona Cardinals. And they have a bevy of other problems, including Chandler Jones, who's on that COVID list. He's not going to play. Some other big names. And the Cardinals know they're in trouble. That's why they traded for Zach Ertz of the Philadelphia Eagles. Anyway, so there's also a bunch of Brown guys that are hurt. Nick Chubb is not going to play in this game, but they have Kareem Hunt. So let the man hunt. And other guys injured, dinged up on the injury report this week, Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney. But that being said, I trust that Cleveland defense to bounce back. They're not going to have 2 stinkers in a row. They played terrible against the Rams, or against the Chargers, rather, last week. Keep in mind, though, Arizona, they scored 17 points against a bad Niner defense and had 4 fumbles in that game. So if you have that kind of performance against the Niners defense, you would think you're going to blow against the defense that the Cleveland Browns will present. A bounce-back week for Cleveland's defense. Browns, 26, and the Cardinals, 22.
What kind of stupid logic is that? Penny's going with Arizona. If Cleveland's defense is going to bounce back, what makes you think Arizona's offense won't bounce back this weekend?
All right. Let me
what
tell
kind
you.
of moronic shit is that?
It's a great question. Let me educate you a little bit here. Step into my office. So Kyler Murray's got a bad shoulder. That's why.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
I think a quarterback needs the shoulder to be healthy to throw the ball.
Not
all right, next up.
Guy.
Listen, just take the loss, man. Take the loss. It's a downslide. The dog days are here for the Cardinals, okay? They are not that good. Not that good. They will be caught flat-footed in this game. All right, now, here we go. Las Vegas, 3-2 at Denver, 3-2 on CBS with Andrew Catalan and James Lofton. Now, the Broncos, a 2.5-point favorite at the start of the week. They are favored by 3.5, so they added the hook at Empower Field at Mile High, sunny and 72 at kickoff. And the pick is in, and I am taking the Denver Broncos. I've got the Broncos this week. This is the what the F happened to our season game for the Raiders. They went from 3-0 They were the toast of the NFL. They had the most impressive start. They were 3-0 champs. They were the number one seed after 3 weeks in the NFL season in everyone's power rankings, all their little power rankings every week, which I don't do. And since then, they have now been hogtied, back-to-back losses, and John Gruden has been excommunicated from Raider Nation, from old emails. What an amazing week. One of the great weeks I can remember in watching football and palace intrigue and all that. So the Raiders have to go back and hit the books. On the Maller scale of distraction, 1 to 10 on the Maller scale of distraction, the John Gruden story is an 864 on the Maller scale of distraction. So longtime special teams coach Rich Bisaccia takes over, and he makes his debut, NFL lifer. Kind of reminds me of the guy in Houston that's coaching the Texans. Tully, is that his name? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. But similar pedigree as coach. Greg Olsen will be the play caller. Only one of the last 7 Raider head coaches has won their first game with the team. That would be Hugh Jackson. And just like me, some Broncos. I think the Raiders are going to come out and feel sorry for themselves and all that. They'll be in a haze and a malaise. And the Broncos, you talk about both teams needing a win. The Broncos have lost both games since they got off to that cupcake 3-0 start. Vegas ranks 31st. If you look at the numbers here, they're a one-dimensional team. 31st at running the football. So they're one-dimensional. They can't get Josh Jacobs going. The Raiders are coming off those consecutive losses, held under 275 net yards each game. And on defense, Gus Bradley, while the defense is good in some areas, they have just 3 takeaways. That's tied for the 3rd fewest in the NFL. And Teddy Bridgewater's been pretty good over the course of his career at not giving the football away. He's also been very good at covering the spread. Now, he failed to cover back-to-back starts here. That's only the 2nd time in his career. Teddy Bridgewater has never, ever failed to cover 3 straight games. It won't happen here. Broncos 30, the Raiders 10.
Penny's also going with Denver in this one.
All right, Dan says the last time another coach called plays from Gruden's playbook, we went to the Super Bowl and lost. Yeah. All right, good luck on that. Who else? Late Night Drug Tester says, sponsored by LifeLock, Gruden locked out of a normal life. Yeah, it's a wild story, man. What a great – and that story is going to continue as the New York Times and others have found a way to get to that treasure trove of email. And
what would you do? Right, what would you do if you were in that spot? If you had that trove of emails?
Well, if I'm a reporter, I'm going slowly.
So are you going? So here's the approach, right? You go slowly, but you leak them to Harvey, right? Harvey Levin, and so you get nice little payouts.
Oh, you're talking about somebody that, like a lawyer or some assistant at a law firm that has the emails? Is that what you're talking about?
I was saying, like, you as a journalist, though, like, would you rather do that yourself, or would you rather give them to Harvey Levin? And that
if you're a journalist, you're right in the toilet, you're in the sewer, and you can get a story. I would go each week. I would drop a different scandalous name.
Yeah,
they've done it too much. This week we had John Gruden, then we had Adam Schefter having the president of an NFL team edit his story for him.
Right.
And at the end of the week, it was this guy, Jeff Pash. And I haven't looked today to see any other names that have popped up. But the lawyer of the NFL who's supposed to be helping investigate the Washington Redskins is like telling the team, there's nothing to worry about. The president of the team, it's some of those emails it might get. But anyway, all right. Dallas 4-1 at New England. So I would go slow and steady so I keep getting stories, and then I'll win a Pulitzer Prize for journalism. That's what I would do. All right. So Dallas 4-1, New England 2-3 on CBS. This is the game of the week. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. The Cowboys, a 3.5-point favorite. Dallas opened at 1 at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. I am taking the Patriots in this game. Give me the Patsies. Dallas, the only team in the NFL that is undefeated against the spread this season, and everyone and their mother betting on the Cowboys. This looks so easy. They're giving out money. It's like candy on Halloween. Just show up in a costume and you get some candy. Show up in a uniform, get a win, and cover the spread. I say no. This is a sneaky good spot for the Patriots. Mac Jones has completed 71% of his passes this season. That is the best completion rate through 5 games all time. He edged out Kurt Warner from The Greatest Show on Turf. I love getting the Patriots with over a field goal. You got the hook in this game, especially the fact they're coming off a bad game. Even though they won, that was a bad performance. They should have lost the game to the Texans last week. I expect a much cleaner, much tighter performance this week. And the Cowboys defense has been very opportunistic. I'm counting on Mac Jones not giving away the football in this game, playing a clean game. And Bill Belichick, as an underdog without Tom Brady, since he got to New England without Tom Brady, 16-11 against the spread. 27 times the Patriots have been a dog without Brady over the years, and Belichick has a winning record. He's 5 games above 500, and I'd rather have Belichick than Mike McCarthy. Putting my money on this, so I am going to surprise you. I'm taking the Patriots here, and Belichick will he'll scheme up a win. Patriots 31, Cowboys 30.
Penny's going with Dallas in this one. Going with the Cowboys.
All right. Yachty says, Ben, make sure to delete your emails with John Gruden. I'm working on that. Fortunately, I don't know anyone that's that powerful. But I don't think I've ever emailed anyone from the old Washington Redskins. But there's a lot of people, Gascon, that are trying to thread a needle over the next couple of months, hoping that their skeletons don't pop out of the closet here.
Man.
Interesting times.
Now we know why that old school show that was created by ESPN. What was it?
Playmakers?
Playmakers, yeah. Now we know why that show has been dissolved for quite a while.
Yeah, and if you look at the media coverage, I have noticed that there's a little bit of a bias with certain outfits that might have a vested interest in kind of skewing the audience one direction, right? The zeitgeist of the public one direction.
Yeah, what most people forget, too, is that this could come out against Gruden, and it's not bad for the NFL. But if it goes out against Daniel Snyder, it's ultimately really bad because, Roger Goodell works for Daniel Snyder, and they have 31 owners, so...
Yeah. Well, the other problem that the NFL has and the players have... Now, I would just release all the emails and redact... I said this on the radio show. I would just redact everything. That's what the government does with UFO stuff, and they don't want us to know about UFOs. So they'll say, we'll release everything, but then anything good's redacted. Like the names are redacted, facts are. So the NFL could do that. But I had a buddy of mine that works in the media business that told me a great point. He said, this is a nightmare for the NFL. The players and the owners should not want these emails released. And he explained why, and he brought up a great point. So what inevitably is going to happen here in the woke society that we're in is that if all these emails are released and they're not redacted and everything is out, and we learn there's a lot of people that are like John Gruden that have worked in the NFL, what's going to inevitably happen? What's the end game on that? There'll be a pressure from social media, pressure from the public for sponsors to tap out of the NFL. Yeah. And the trickle-down economics on that will not only affect the owners, but it'll affect the players because of the way the salary structures is, and it's based on percentage of revenue and all that. So this is not just bad for the owners, and it's just not some rich robber barons that are getting taken down conceivably and powerful people. It's also the players. So you're trying to rattle some cages, but the NFL, they have a vested interest, both sides, not to see the sunshine on those emails.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen small little nuggets of guys coming out of the draft, right? Like their combine, their scouting reports, and you think about guys that are prominent now in the league, like Joe Mixon, Tyreek Hill. I mean, these guys have some issues. They got some stuff that's surfaced, obviously, and stuff that's been on tape, and God forbid, like the Ray Rices of the world. So this just obviously amplifies all of that.
Yeah, for practical purposes, the NFL must pretend like they want to have one of those things for the Men in Black.
Zap,
zap, the Neuralizer, I think it was called, if I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tommy says scandalicious. Yes, scandalicious. All right, here we go. Next game, Sunday Night Football. Got a couple games left. Sunday Night Football, Seattle 2-3 at Pittsburgh 2-3. The Steelers, a 5.5-point favorite. I'm getting bug-eyed. 5.5. This game opened Seahawks by 2.5. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth have the call from Heinz Field in the 50s on Sunday night. I'm going to take the Seahawks in this game, actually. I was originally going to take Pittsburgh, and then I saw the line. I said, no way. This is a sticky situation for Pete Carroll. The Seahawks beginning life without Russell Wilson, who's given everyone the bird. He's got a bad middle finger, which means Geno Smith takes over as the new franchise quarterback, unless he's not. So Seattle playing their first game here without Mr. Unlimited since 2011. Did you know that? 10 years of solid football from Russell Wilson. And Seattle has a defense which is biblically bad as well. They've allowed 450 yards in each of the past 4 games. That ties an NFL record. So this is another one of those spots where the public thinks they can just stroll into the sports book and they're giving out money. And this is the kind of a play where the sports book guzzles down all the bets, and then Seattle ends up covering the spread. Seattle is 16-8 against the spread as a dog of at least 4 points under Pete Carroll. So those games were mostly with Russell Wilson, but still, don't turn a blind eye on Seattle here. The Seahawks are the pick. I know Geno stinks, but he is equal to Ben Roethlisberger. There is no discernible advantage that Pittsburgh has here. Roethlisberger is horrible. Horrible, horrible. He's washed up. He's averaging the lowest touchdown rate and first down rate in any season of his career, and he missed practice this week. He's got a bad hip. He's got pectoral injuries, so he's old. He's not 100%. This is a nip-and-tuck game. And I'll take the Steelers to win by a late field goal, but the Seahawks to win the money. Seattle 23, Pittsburgh 20.
Pittsburgh is the pick from the penny, a broken Steelers team.
Well, it's good to see my guy Roscoe the Parrot and David Cochran from Winter Park, Florida, that drove all the way to Boston checking in. And hey, what happened, Roscoe? I thought the Rays were going to play the Dodgers in the World Series. What happened, Roscoe?
Oh.
Bad job by you. I probably won't read the rest of that. All right, next up, Monday Night Football, the last game on the card, Buffalo. But now, before I get to this game, by the way, I want to promote. You were not part of this podcast, Gascon, but I was so excited to catch up with my old buddy Jerome Juranovich from CNN Headline Sports, legend. He just retired. I can't believe he's retired. Jerome is part of the Fox Sports Radio Alumni Association, Gascon, and he's a friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years here, and I hadn't talked to him in a long time. We had him on the podcast today, the 5th hour. He tells what is one of my favorite stories that we've ever gotten on the podcast. He was known for his Jerome Juranovich. He tells the story of how that started on our podcast, and it's outstanding. It's such a great broadcasting story, Gascon, that it has to do with a hard out. It has to do with a hard out, how that started. CNN they ran a tight ship on headline news, and he tells the story there. It's great. I recommend it. Raise your glass to Jerome Juranovich. And he also told a story about meeting Jolton Joe DiMaggio at some small restaurant, like a meet and greet there in Pennsylvania. What is that ambient noise there? What is going on there? I hear a lot of ambient noise.
I was drinking some Gatorade.
Oh, all right.
I was raising a glass to you. What the hell?
I wasn't looking. I had laser-like focus. All right. Anyway, so Jerome Juranovich, 5 stars. Tell a friend. That is one of the better chat podcasts. Gascon, do you think you will ever return to a Friday podcast? You have not been on the last couple. I don't think you're going to be on the Saturday podcast. Do you think you will return at some point to the Friday, Saturday podcast?
I'm going to try.
All right. Anyway.
I'm going to try. What? What do you want from me? I'm going to try.
All right. Alf says today's podcast was fantastic. He enjoyed it.
He's probably talking about the production quality of it. So,
yeah, recorded by me in the podcast studio. So, all right, here we go. Buffalo 4-1 at Tennessee 3-2. It's on ESPN. Steve Levy, Brian Griese, and Louis Riddick, who will all pretend not to know John Gruden. The Bills opened a 3.5-point favorite. They are 5.5-point favorites. 5.5-point favorites on the road in this game as I come to you from the Glass House. So I am taking the Tennessee Titans in this particular game. I like Tennessee at Nissan Stadium with, again, temperatures in the low 60s, high 50s in Nashville at kickoff. And this is a letdown spot for Buffalo. The Bills have won 4 straight. They scored 156 points. They've allowed just 41. They're coming off their defining win, a rout of Kansas City in Week 5. And they got back a little payback for last year's AFC title game. And Josh Allen's everyone's darling at quarterback, and he is playing very well right now for Buffalo. Mostly, there's some few weak areas, but I'm going to go the other way. I like Tennessee in this spot this week. Derrick Henry goes against the NFL's 4th best run defense in the Bills. Tennessee will stuff the belly of Henry. He has the most touches of any player over the first 5 weeks in NFL history. It's ground and pound. Mix in that passing game. And listen, I like Tennessee. This will be a high-scoring game. People will be very surprised by this. Buffalo will end up winning. Bills Mafia will win in the end, but they will not cover that 5.5 as a road favorite. Buffalo 34 and Tennessee 31.
Penny's going with the Buffalo Bills in this one. Circling the wagons with the road team.
There you go. Let's see. David, a.k.a. Roscoe the Parrot, says first Colin Cowherd, then Stephen A. Smith, and now Ben Maller hates Baker Mayfield. Memo from Roscoe the Parrot, the Browns will destroy the Cardinals. I like that Roscoe and David are like 7 games behind where we are. I like that. And by the way, you big dumb bird, Roscoe, I picked the Browns in that game. So get off my junk. I picked the Browns in that game. So stop. I have not seen Robbie the Mariner fan in the chat. Is he in the chat? I have not seen him in the chat.
Probably not. He's probably he's with San Francisco Giant fans at the moment.
What bridge is that?
Cubby Cove.
What bridge is that behind?
That's in Boston.
Oh yeah, that's the. I thought it was. There's a bridge like that in Australia too that kind of looks similar to
that.
Yeah. Don't you have to pay? Is that a toll bridge where you have to? One of the bridges in Boston you have to pay. And I'm like, screw that.
Oh yeah, of course. And I was gonna say people in Australia don't go out of their houses anymore. They can't.
Oh, still? They're not allowed still to go out?
Get arrested and thrown into the
brig. Justin in Cincinnati says, I cannot wait for those disgusting Tony Dungy emails. That was my favorite part of the early window of the John Gruden story when Mike Tirico and Tony Dungy went on NBC. Did you see this on the Sunday night game when they had that weather delay, Chiefs and Bills? And defended John Gruden, right? They defended Gruden. They both knew Gruden, Dungy, whatnot. So, and Tirico worked with him on ESPN. And so they defended him. And then the very next day, the rest of the emails came out. And both of them essentially said, no, we did not defend John Gruden. They spent like 10 minutes on NBC defending John Gruden. And then it's the old gaslight thing, right? They gaslight. Like, well, no, I didn't do it. You thought I did it. It's the political gaslighting. Anyway. All right, we got to get out of here.
Are we done? Are we done?
You're at some seedy hotel.
I'm at the Hard Rock in San Diego.
Wow. If you want to meet Gascon, Queen Roxanne, you can get to San Diego real quick. It takes a 2-hour flight to San Diego. You can
there you go. There. From Denver to America's finest city.
Is that a wig you're wearing? Is that a wig?
It's not a wig. It's real hair. I know some of us on the podcast and on this show don't have hair, but
I have hair right here. Look at that.
Real
right
hair,
here.
My friend. Real fucking hair.
Look at that. The shield.
You have eyelashes, you have nose hair, and you have ear hair.